I'd like to welcome you to the third of a series of webinars covering topics around franchise ownership. My name is Vasilis Georgiou. I will be the presenter. You can send me follow-up questions to vgeorgiou@franchoice.com, and for a one-on-one consultation to help find the right franchise for you, register at franchoice.com/vgeorgiou. A little bit of my background. I have a unique perspective with respect to franchise ownership based on my previous experience and background. A business broker for about 11 years with multiple transactions under my belt, national franchise consultant with FranChoice, advising hundreds of candidates to find the right franchise. I've also been a multi-unit, multi-territory operator of a home care franchise. And previously, I was a senior manager with KPMG Consulting, also known as Bearing Point. A little bit of what we're going to cover on this third part of the series. We're going to look at franchising's impact on the economy, what you would expect franchising to offer you. We're going to talk a little bit about the investigation process of looking into a franchise. And finally, we're going to look at your financial parameters. Obviously, the ability, the range of investment capabilities that you have would determine the level of involvement in a particular franchise system. Let's look at franchising by the numbers. It's obvious by looking at these numbers that franchising has been and will continue to be a big part of the economy, and it's a major contributor to the labor market as well. For example, franchise businesses generated over $800 billion in direct economic activity. The annual growth seems to be hovering around 4.55%. When it comes to direct jobs, the franchise businesses account for 8.3 million in direct jobs. If you look at the direct and indirect contribution, in other words, businesses that support franchising and derive their revenues from contributing to the franchise model, you're looking at $2.1 trillion of private non-farm output. And also, if you look at direct and indirect contribution, we are looking at 11.8% of all private non-farm jobs being related to franchising. We have over 800,000 different franchise establishments, over 565,000 franchise owners, and over 75 different industries are covered and have offerings within franchising. Let's look at what franchising offers. First of all, the franchise industry is very well organized when it comes to information. Information can be industry specific and franchise specific. It is very regulated, extremely regulated. Franchise specific information is typically disclosed via the franchise disclosure document, which is required and is highly regulated by the FCC. You have very well organized industry organizations such as the International Franchise Association, that offer a plethora of information. And when it's time to decide, when you're trying to decide which direction to go in franchising, you do have access to a lot of people who are already involved in it, in a particular brand, that you can leverage and gain information from. So, in other words, the franchising model really offers you a quicker start, accelerated learning when you're delving into a new venture. You would expect ongoing operational and business development support that is proven and has accomplished, contributed to success of existing franchisees. It really offers you a risk reduction strategy because you're tapping into that system and the proven track record. And of course, like any other business, you are creating an asset that has resale value. And also, when it's time to exit, one can make the argument that the exit process may be facilitated by tapping into an existing network of franchisees who typically become the prime candidate for absorbing your business as they try to expand. The franchise investigation procedure is very structured. A lot of franchisors have a very methodical way of going about it. One note of caution: it is important to know that when you're dealing with the franchisor and going through an investigation, it's a process of mutual elimination. The franchisor is really looking to make sure that there's a good fit. They have a vested interest in the success of the franchisee. So one of their primary objectives is to make sure that the franchisee has the ability to follow the system and that the franchisee really is a good fit and has the credentials necessary to succeed in the system. The interaction between prospective franchisee and franchisor is really a general information exchange. It starts with an initial disclosure of the franchise disclosure document. Also, there's follow-up visits and calls where the franchisor presents the economic model, the marketing model, and makes a business case for why you should invest in their franchise. If those calls go well, they would allow you and give you access to existing franchisees in the system where you can have one-on-one conversations with them and really delve into what it means to be an operator of that particular franchise. You would also have opportunities to review systems, supports, infrastructures, etc. If all that initial interaction goes well, then the franchise candidate gets invited to a discovery day, which is basically a day where you spend at the headquarters of the franchisor, meeting the staff and delving really more in detail about the day-to-day operation of the franchisor, as well as what to expect by being a franchisee. After the discovery day, typically you are in a position and you're expected to make a decision about the franchise. One key question that needs to be asked even before the interactions begin is, what are your financial parameters? How much money can you comfortably invest? You have to ask the questions: are you going it alone? Do you have investors or partners? Based on your financial credit history and your net worth, how much money can you borrow? How much money do you really expect or want to make the first year of operation before you really ramp it up? And how soon do you need to see an income? You really have to budget about 6 months of living with your savings before you theoretically or practically see some revenue from the new venture, the new business. In conclusion, investing in a franchise, if done right with the right franchisor, can offer a very viable alternative as a career option and even as a venture option when you're weighing the pros and cons between buying a resale and starting a new franchise. Again, send follow-up questions to vgeorgiou@frankchoice.com and send me, register for a one-on-one consultation at frankchoice.com/vgeorgiou. Thank you for attending.